What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's your boys over here at Three Man Weave. I'm your co-host CJ, here with my lovely co-host ZD on this Saturday night, August 9th, 6:28
Checking in.
p.m. with the boy. You already know, we're always working
Yeah,
around here.
good.
Yeah, how are you doing tonight, ZD, on this beautiful
I'm solid,
Saturday night?
man. Yeah, I'm solid. I was feeling kind of under the weather this morning, but I was able to, like I was telling you when we was chopping it up, get some things done. And yeah, bro, it's good to get some things off my plate. I think that takes some stress off of me, so I'm feeling pretty good. I was able to shoot some content, like get the outline done. I wasn't in the gym. Normally I'm in the gym, but hopefully
Facts.
tomorrow we get back on track. But yeah, I'm feeling good. Got my shirty next to me. How you doing, man?
Shit, I'm doing great, bro. Just got off of work not too long ago. It's actually my Monday technically. You know how
Ah,
so I just had these last
yeah,
2 days off and now I got work. So like we call that like, oh, it's your Monday type of thing at work. So it's my Monday sadly on it's my Monday on a
on a
Saturday to put that in
Saturday. Yeah,
perspective. But it's good, bro. Just came home, ate some food, chopped it up with Zach for a little bit, and then hopped on the pod. So now ready to chop it up with you about hoops. You know what I'm saying? But
of course,
that's about it, man. Just
100%.
been playing college football. That's been my thing right now. Not gonna lie, UNLV
Sick,
Dynasty's going crazy. I lost in the
100%.
championship to Notre Dame, but that's a different
Oh,
story.
come on now. You gotta redeem yourself, bro.
Get back, bro. Week 0, game 1, Notre Dame at Notre Dame in South Bend. You know what I'm saying?
Oh wow. Okay,
We
okay,
gotta
bet.
we
Like
got.
they schedule y'all.
I scheduled
I really like.
them.
Hey, so okay, bet. But I'm not gonna lie. I really like the dynasty mode and how well thought out
Oh,
of a game
dude,
that is. Like the high school recruiting and
dude.
shout out to EA for that.
And it gets so in depth, bro. I think that's why I like it. Like the recruiting. Oh, I'm trying to get this 4-star gem from Austin, Texas, and this, bro. I be nerding out about shit like that. So I've actually had a game that I've been like wanting to play. Like, oh, dude, I can't wait to get on and like start leveling up all my players for their off season boosts and shit. Yeah, bro. I've been into that lately. So UNLV still haven't won a championship yet. I think I'm going year 4, going into year 4, but we're 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 coming back with a vengeance this year. But yeah, just been
100%.
doing that, bro. Honestly, you're not gonna lie, I've
You
been
be
geeking
rocking
out.
the black jerseys. Y'all be
Yeah,
rocking them black jerseys. Okay, for
yeah.
sure.
So we have like silver ones too, and like I've been rocking the all whites and the all red. Like the unis are kind of fire. Not gonna lie, I can't wait
Yeah,
till they do NCAA basketball, dude.
yeah,
We
they'll get it all scanned in, bro. Like you're saying, they scan all the jerseys in, so it's like
we
it's
we
pretty
we
cool.
would have to do it like an online dynasty, bro, for college
Yeah, I'll get the
basketball,
game.
bro.
Yeah, I just want to play with AJ. I was talking to you
Mm,
about him too.
yep.
Talking about AJ Bantam before he hopped on, but yeah, dude, that game is gonna be fun, and obviously the names will be there as well because guys are getting paid, so
It's gonna
it's gonna
be
be a lot better than the fake Kevin Love.
yeah,
You
dude. The Blake
know,
Griffin in the shoot around
Blake Griffin, and
in
yeah, bro,
2010.
like yeah, that ain't going. We got the real names now, but
Mm.
yeah, man, I'm just ready to chop it up. I know we got a lot to talk about today. Mainly just some of the matchups that have came out. They did the opening day, and I think Christmas Day. You sent me Christmas Day a few days ago, so I
Yeah,
don't want to say it came out with
it,
opening day, but
yeah. They I think it came out earlier this week. I think when we shot on Monday, but the opening day games came out. Was it yesterday?
recently,
Yeah, a couple
yeah,
days
it was
ago.
recently. Yeah, so CJ and I will get into those for you guys. That'll kind of be our first thing before we go into our off-season files. And today we got the Minnesota Timberwolves, and CJ and I spoke about them a little bit last time on the pod that hasn't just dropped yet, but I think we figured out a better way to kind of give you guys some more insight into what these teams can do off the court. With the Grizzlies, we talked about trading John Morant and some crazy things, but
Right.
yeah, man. We'll just start it right off, bro. Opening night. This is October 21st, 2025. I'm excited, dude. I've been waiting a long time.
Can't wait.
Uh, yeah, bro. I think at this point it's very bittersweet because I'm trying to hold on to seeing the Thunder win, and that season was very memorable for me just because of what happened with Luca, and then obviously everything that happened in the playoffs. It was a pretty cool experience, but I'm looking forward to moving on towards opening night, and this is something that CJ and I have been looking forward to our entire lives. So I'm excited to dive right into it, brother. I think the first game we got on the docket for tonight is going to be your Thunder versus the Rockets. And
Yes,
before you dive
sir.
into it, man, this one is going to be super heated. We got Kevin Durant now in the Rockets jersey. Obviously, we don't have to talk about the Thunder too much, to be honest, because they're the defending champs, so it's clear. But I will say, I think what I'm most excited for in this matchup is just seeing Kevin Durant out there going up against Shea, and there's really that two-way battle that's going to be happening. I know there's going to be a chess match against Mark Daigneault and Ime Udoka, and it's going to be an exciting matchup, bro. I'm excited to see Alp, see how he does, and Chet, all the guys back, and see how J Dub does too, man.
Coming off that
Obviously, we haven't spoken
surgery.
about him since his little video, but I know he's gonna be showing up, bro. Like I'm not too worried. I think for me, just seeing how the Rockets have developed over the course of the offseason with now adding Durant is going to be the thing I'm watching for most in this game. I know what the Thunder are going to do. They're going to defend really well. They have all their guys back from last year, but I think for me, the most interesting part of this matchup is going to be the Rockets and how Kevin Durant can get his. We know what Shea's going to do. Take Shea over points, whatever the number is. I'm sure it'll be at like 31 and a half, but that's a over, no double team. So it's going to be fun, bro. I don't want to talk about it too long, but it's going to be good.
Yeah. No, yeah. So first off, right when I saw that kind of bittersweet moment for me, because it's like KD's
KD, yeah,
return and it's our ring ceremony. It's gonna be our banner lifted up. I feel like there. I saw someone on Twitter was like, "Oh, this is the type of camera angle we should have whenever the banner gets raised," and it's like a like picture in picture type of vibe where it's like showing some like us reacting to
yeah,
it, and
like
then and
SBA, and
then
then like
and then
yeah,
KD, but like I said, very bittersweet, bro. I'm not gonna lie. It's kind of crazy. Side tangent. Sorry, just Kevin Durant in general, just the type of player that he was, and like he was my favorite player in the league, and he still is. It's just kind of like whole situation that happened, and the fact that we're still able to win a championship without him, just kind of our like resilience as a franchise, and just kind of what we've been through just to get to where we're at now. So bittersweet, but you said it, bro. I'm really excited to see the matchup for one with KD and just whoever's guarding, but also kind of seeing the what an off-season training looks like for a Amen Thompson at this point in his career. I think he's going to have a great season potentially. I think he's going to get on an all defensive team again. Like I don't have any reason to not to think that, and kind of seeing what that looks like for him. I don't think he's going to be like a shot creator. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised, but I don't think that's kind of where they have him there for. They obviously just got KD, and that's kind of
right,
going to fill the void of the shot creations and tough shot making that they were kind of lacking this past season.
exactly.
But I think he's going to be. I wouldn't be surprised if he kind of plays like a point forward type of vibe, or you know what I mean. Like they might not have him starting at point guard, but they'll have like I don't know, Fred, him, KD, Sengun, who else?
Probably Jabari.
Jabari. Yeah, so like kind of like a smaller, not small, but like you have one big body
That
and then you
makes
have
sense.
KD.
No,
You
yeah,
know what I
that
mean?
makes sense.
So I think he's
Yeah,
gonna
bro.
be getting the main like if I was developing him, let's just say that, just because of how athletic he is and how dynamic of he is in transition, I would have him bring the ball up and kind of initiate the offense, and then I kind of go from there. Obviously you got KD, and we've been on a tangent these past couple of minutes about him, but just seeing what he can do for the Rockets, I'm excited to see what that looks like. Because that's what they are lacking. So it's gonna be a
Exactly.
great test
No,
for us. First game of the season, and
exactly. I was thinking about it too. Like the Rockets are playing with house money in a sense. Like I don't think a ton of people are going to expect them to win or whatever. The question I have for you, you have a score prediction. I got mine, but
first game of the year, I feel like
yeah,
really like the first month, those games are kind of like nasty a little bit. You know what I mean? Like everyone's kind of working out the kinks, getting the rust off and stuff like that. I think it's still gonna be a decently high scoring game, probably like
Okay.
110 to
That's interesting.
103.
I was gonna say I think it could go over.
Yeah,
Because like you say, I think a lot of people might be thinking like that total will be at 227 and a half, and it's
right.
like I think they can get 228 from day
228.
one.
Okay.
But yeah, let's see. I had 123, 112
Mm.
OKC. So I think it'll be a higher scoring game. I don't know. I feel like guys have been playing, and for OKC's case, it's just a continuity. I think what's going to kill Houston is like they just haven't played yet
Yeah,
together.
yeah, yeah.
But like I think in OKC's case, they actually have that working for them in a sense where like they really can just hop right back into what they've been doing the last year and a half. And so
Yep.
we're gonna see. I'm
Hey,
excited. I think it's what's up,
you know what I'm excited to actually say now, and
huh?
it's crazy how things work, but you know how everyone's saying, well, they just haven't proven it yet. They're too young. They don't, I haven't seen it. Like that can't. That's not an excuse for us any reason now. Like we just are coming off. You know what I mean? So that's how that. I just had to
Yeah,
put that. I just
there's
had to put that in there. Had to put that in there.
yeah
That little
there's
sound bite.
yeah, there's not really you don't have to say you're sorry for getting winning the championship. That's what they say. So
Exactly.
like not much more you can really say if you win.
Yeah.
Um, the best team in the league, clearly. But yeah, that's the early game. So hopefully you
It's gonna be a
guys,
banger.
people at school, you're getting off of work, you'll be able to catch this one. I think they got it at 6:30. It's gonna be a good one for sure. So make sure you guys lock in for that. This next one though is my squad, man. We got LA Lakers versus Golden State, Battle of California. I mean, Luca, LeBron. I think we're gonna get the Warriors here though, bro. I think we're gonna blitz them a little bit. I'm excited to see what we can do with Aiton, Austin Reeves as well. Clearly, we're still gonna have Dalton Connect, Bronny James. It's gonna be exciting to see the tempo that we play with. I think we're gonna be playing a lot faster too. I wouldn't be shocked if we start pushing the pace a little bit more. We got some younger guys that can fill in, especially on the bench. With Laravia. Um, what's interesting? We didn't have the worst offseason in the world, but some of the improvements that we were looking right, we got a center. That's cool, right? I'd say Marcus Smart is good. Laravia is fine, but we still have to look towards build developing through our younger guys who we've drafted. Again, the Lakers have drafted fairly well over the last couple of years, and so I think leaning into Otto Thero, AR, right? Like he's already developed, but still we got him. And
Yeah.
then Dalton Connect, right? I think the Warriors are in a bit of a tough situation just because Steph and Jimmy Butler are aging, and I know they're just going to be asked to do a lot that night, and so we'll see. I think Luca is going to control the pace. I think JJ is going to be ready to coach, but ultimately, I think this is the battle of kind of Steph and LeBron. And I was gonna mention this, man. I have it in my notes, but not very many times you're gonna see that again. Enjoy it if you can catch this
Man,
game. It's one of the
that's
only
crazy.
times you're gonna see like LeBron and Steph Curry really play against each other, and I think that's a testament to their greatness, but also signaling that things are coming to an end. There's kind of a new wave of basketball. That's why I was just talking about the younger guys. It's like that's not a LeBron, that's not a Curry, and so we got to make sure we witness greatness. That's what I'm most excited for. Really, is like the battle of Curry and LeBron because I never underestimate that. I'm always happy to. And this is the late cap. It's California. It's going to be at 9:30 or 9 p.m. So
Yeah, it's gonna be a late
hopefully,
night.
for people going to bed, like I know you won't be able to catch it, but if you guys can, definitely watch it. I know it ends late, but it's going to be a good game, bro.
Yeah.
I got Lakers winning 115, Warriors scoring 108.
Okay. 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 Yeah. No, it's like you said, Luca, LeBron, AR. I'm excited to see what that looks like. I think it's gonna be. I think Luca's gonna have a masterclass game. I'm not gonna lie. I think he's.
I agree.
I have high hopes for Luca this season, and I'm not.
Take the
I'm not
over.
even like a big Luca guy. I mean, y'all know the history with the Mavs, Thunder. You already know, but
Jay.
I just think the way things happened last season, the whole situation, the assumptions, why did they trade him, this and that, him being overweight, whatever. I just think healthy Luca, bro, is a we talked about it. one of the best
He's
players,
him.
if not the best player in the league, and the fact that he's on your team now and you're such a huge fan of him, it's just like a story. I think it's going to be a story, not a storybook season, but I think Luka's going to have an incredible season this upcoming year, and
I agree.
I think he's my like, I guess MVP, preseason MVP for this upcoming year. I think I don't
I,
know. I just have a good feeling, bro. I don't know. I think we're gonna get what we know we're gonna get from him. You know what I mean? It's gonna be a whole season of it. So excited for this game though. No, I think it's
I
gonna be
would
the
be
Lucas
very
show.
happy. Oh,
Yeah.
you're making me happy,
Oh,
bro.
dude.
I'm like,
Oh,
I would be very happy. I'm not
I'm.
gonna lie.
Yeah. No, I got you, bro. I'm campaigning it for it this year. You know what I'm saying? I'm not. I wouldn't be mad at it.
Appreciate that.
But
I appreciate that.
But no, just excited to see kind of off season. Probably gonna be saying that for these next couple games. Just the training, seeing what. Obviously we know what the Warriors are, but just kind of seeing all like the schematics and little things that kind of they would mess up on assignments, certain situations, just with that team that they have now.
Rotations,
Yeah,
yeah.
rotations and whatnot. But ready to see another season of Curry. I feel like you said it
Word.
perfectly with just seeing LeBron and Curry go at it. We're not gonna get that a lot. For the foreseeable future. We might get it. A handful of times. Of course, they still are gonna play against each other, but they're not as it's not gonna be something we see 10 years from now. So kind of crazy to think about that. Like you said, bittersweet. I was talking to my little brother and my dad and uncle about hoops yesterday, and we are just Jaden. My little brother Jaden was like, he was born in '06. He was like, yeah, ever since I've been watching basketball, LeBron's been in the league. I was like, Jaden, ever since you've been born, LeBron has been in the league. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Like, to put that in perspective. So, just yeah, dude, just ready to see what the Warriors look like. Trying to figure out the whole Kaminga thing. Do we didn't haven't gotten any news on that, right? Like, is he gonna be playing for them, or
well, there's a lot of people that are still haven't been,
right? Okay,
Giddy, Kaminga.
all right,
There's a few people that haven't been signed yet. It's just a
crazy.
question mark.
Yeah. Well,
I don't have any no news, no nothing.
if Kaminga isn't there, if he is there, what he can do. If he's not there, I guess to seeing like you brought him up, Moses Moody, or seeing if Pods has improved on his
Right,
shot making, or little stuff like
of
that.
course.
Just but I think y'all are gonna get this dub, bro. It's gonna be at crypto, right? Y'all are home.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I think y'all got this one, man. Like you said, I like the score that you predicted. I think this one might be a little more high scoring. I don't think defense isn't y'all's
Warriors
forte.
defense,
Yeah.
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 No, yeah,
Defense might not be.
for sure.
It'll be played. I don't know if it'll make that much of a
Be played
difference,
well,
right?
right.
And so I kind of like that.
Understood.
What was yours again? I'm gonna say
115, 107,
okay.
Lakers.
I'm gonna do 117,
Yeah,
109, like around that.
yeah, yeah. I
Lakers.
think I think Warriors just get above 100, but only just.
Yeah.
I think Curry gives you, almost, or I'd say like 25. Butler will give you 20. It's just like who else?
Who else? Yeah.
Yeah, I think those two guys are like solidified. We'll get 40 something points, especially day one. I
Hmm.
think that's really important. Like I know people are like, oh, like not too superstitious, whatever, but I think it's important to have a good opening day,
It is.
kind
It
of
is for
start you
sure.
off right.
Hmm.
So, but yeah, but that wraps us up for opening night. Like I said, in October, you guys watch out for it. Mark the dates. It's going to be an important night. It's going to be exciting, and what better way to have two of our teams playing on opening night,
Yeah,
right?
it's
Of course,
crazy.
that ends up working out in our favor. Is really great to have. Honestly, a rising franchise that's becoming one of the best franchises of all time, in my opinion, and then the Lakers. You guys know
The Lakers.
The
Yeah.
Lakers are the Lakers.
Yeah.
Yeah. But moving right along, man, we got these December basketball games for you guys, man. The ones on Christmas. For CJ and I, this has been a long time tradition. We actually did a pod. I think we'll try to do it. I don't know what you'll be doing. Depends on if you're with family and things like that. But I think last time we had a pod on
On
Christmas,
Christmas.
which was
Yeah,
pretty cool.
yeah,
Yeah, because I'm a family man, of course. I want to be with my family, but we're just all split out, so
right,
I don't spend like Christmas Day with my family always,
right,
but spend it with my family, like my brother
right.
CJ.
Yes,
But yeah,
sir.
we got a crazy slate for Christmas Day. The NBA does a really good job of putting on a good performance for these games, and so making sure that they're high level matchups with intensity, so the fans can get behind it. But I'll start out. We're going to talk about Eastern Conference team, who
Yeah,
honestly
we haven't talked
we
about that in a
we haven't
minute.
talked about the East in a minute.
Like three
But yeah,
episodes.
oh, 3 episodes. Bro. I was about to say like a long time,
Yeah,
but hey, man, first game, Christmas Day. This is early. You guys know 12 p.m. as you're waking up. Got the Cleveland Cavaliers and New York Knicks, man. Jalen Brunson versus Donovan Mitchell. These two
banger.
teams are banger, very competitive. Cleveland 64 wins last year. Unbelievable regular season. Kenny Atkinson, Coach of the Year. Evan Mobley, Defensive Player of the Year. We got Jalen Brunson, Clutch Player of the Year. Honestly, one of I'd say a top
Top
five
five.
guard in my opinion. Yeah, in my opinion, in the NBA. And it's just going to be an exciting matchup, bro. We got two heavyweight teams who know their identity. These teams both have continuity as well. They're not new. I think this matchup will be fun, man. I don't know when
Oh,
we'll hop
dude.
on. It might be like a little after that game, but like that game's going to be a banger. I think Mike Brown's the new addition for the Knicks. That's really the only
Mm.
thing. Like we talked about it earlier with opening night. By then, they should have continuity with him coaching. But seeing the schematics, the types of defenses that he's going to be running against the two big lineup and Jared Allen and Evan Mobley is going to be interesting. Karl Anthony Towns got to show up that night, bro. I think he will. Like I think usually on Christmas, if you remember, what did McCall Bridges do last year? CJ, come on,
He dropped 40, right?
right? So people got, I mean, it was, yeah, 45 points or
And
something
then didn't
crazy.
Wemby go crazy too?
Wemby had 40 something too as well. But guys usually play with heightened intentions on Christmas Day for whatever reason. And so I feel like Donovan Mitchell's going to be there. We're going to see Jalen Brunson go back and forth. It's going to be really competitive game, bro. Cavs got Lonzo, OG, right? McCall. Like, I think the Knicks got this one, though. I'm gonna say 122, 118. It's gonna be close though.
Okay.
It's gonna be close.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Knicks.
No, yeah, it's. I think that honestly, all these matchups are pretty good. Besides one, there's only one that I'm kind of like, that one's okay. But
Same,
NBA did
same.
a
That's
NBA did a
man.
great job, and I think this is like a perfect way to start off like Christmas Day, just a banger. This you said it, top. I think they're both top three seeds in the East last year, so kind of running it back Christmas Day, like you said. Donovan Mitchell versus Jalen Brunson versus Cat versus Evan
Versus
Mobley.
everyone,
You know what I mean? Like
essentially. Yeah.
great,
Yeah.
great basketball, like you said. I'm hoping for a Jalen Brunson game. I think a Brunson burner, maybe like a 40 bomb or something. Yeah, that's what I'm hoping for. And him in like a Donovan Mitchell shootout. That's kind of what I'm hoping for.
Might just get that, dude.
I
You
think.
might just be manifesting
Ooh,
that.
that would be incredible. Early morning or like Christmas Day, that would start off
And
the
the
day.
Christmas Day parlays.
Ooh, finna be cooking, bro. But
For
yeah,
sure.
I think I have the Knicks as well. I think the Knicks are,
Yeah, there you
like
go.
you said, the only question mark for me is how Mike Brown's going to be. But I think he's going to be a good fit for them. I think he's going to kind of what we were talking about Thibs this whole season, just the rotations. I feel like that's going to be a lot better. So guys are going to be, healthier throughout the whole
Right
season, but
spot.
just even during games, they're just going to be less fatigued throughout it. So I'm excited to see what that looks like, and I think it can translate really well. Mike Brown was coaching De'Aaron and Sabonis in Sacramento when they were on that All Pro team, or All NBA team. Sorry, and I think they can kind of mimic that a little bit over in New York, and
Exactly.
they
Yeah,
have
that's
a
a good point.
better
I didn't
team
think
as a
about that,
whole.
bro.
So
That's a good point.
I think it's gonna be good. I think the Knicks are still going to be really good defensively this year. I don't think they're going to be as good as they were last year, just
I was gonna say
off of their coach. But I think this is going to be a close one as well. I'm kind of aiming towards the like 108, 104, 105. That's kind of where I'm aiming like right now.
slower.
So a little
Cool.
slower pace.
Yeah. No, 100%. I'm with that. I think there's something to be said. about those two teams' offensive ceiling and also their defensive ceiling very similar.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, like the Knicks can play defense very well if they want, so can the Cavs, and they can also both perform really well on the offensive end. So, yeah, this that matchup's really good. This next one, I'm probably the second most excited about outside of my own
Right.
team, obviously.
Right.
But this is the one at 2:30, I think. But this
Mm-hmm.
is another good one that they're
Another
putting
banger.
right in prime time for Christmas Day for a reason. But we got the Spurs versus the Thunder, bro, and I mean the Wemby Chet
Wemby
battles will
Chet.
happen for the
Wemby
next 10
Chet.
years. So I think for people who are looking towards the future, you have a lot of hope in games like this because you guys get to see the competitiveness, the competitive greatness level that both of those guys possess. I think in this game specifically, I'm going to be looking Chet versus Wemby. I think we know what Shea's going to do on Christmas and what J-Dub are going to bring. And also, I'm excited to see De'Aaron Fox, bro,
Yeah, me
and
too.
Dylan
I
Harper,
was gonna say
bro, and
I'm ready to see
Stephon
all their
Castle.
guards, bro.
And like, yeah, and like those guys don't ever play on Christmas. Like they play on Christmas because of Wemby now,
Wemby,
but
yeah.
it's like they're gonna get an opportunity to play in that spotlight, and I think to me that's the dopest thing that we could potentially like possibly have. So, uh, I wouldn't be shocked to either if at this point in the season the Spurs are a top 4 seed. That's my hot take. I
Oh,
think they
okay.
might be doing very, very well in this moment. So I feel like there's a chance for a little upset. I don't want to give it to them off the rip because this is the defending champions, but I think they're on the road, right?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
Spurs are on the road.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, I think it's verse. So we'll have to see. Let's see. I think Shea goes for 30. Wemby's gonna have his 30 piece. Chet's gonna give you a 20 and 10. I got OKC 118 and I got Spurs 112. 6 point game. It's gonna be good.
Who do you think on the Spurs roster is going to surprise you this game, or not surprise you, but
Yeah, like where
just
I'm
be
not
the
expecting
yeah.
be service either Carter Bryant or HB. I feel like Harrison Barnes don't get the love he deserves, and he goes in there, he hits a couple threes. I think that could swing the game, especially on a Christmas Day
Mm.
game. Like I think on Christmas Day, what I like is just anything can happen.
Yep.
We talked about it with the Sixers. You remember people were like,
Ooh.
"Oh, no way, they're beating the Celtics," and me and you were both like, "I don't
We're
know
like, hold
if
on. I was like,
everybody's
wait,
healthy,
is
bro."
everyone healthy? We're like, yeah.
Yeah,
I
if
was like, oh
everybody's healthy,
shit, I don't
bro.
know then.
Yeah, yeah, if everybody's healthy, just anything can happen. So I think when you ask me that, I also see Carter Bryant been hooping all summer and very,
That
very intrigued.
defense,
Super
bro.
athletic defense, bro. Like I wouldn't be surprised he gets 3, 4 steals
Yeah.
against the Thunder.
Yeah. No, you're not wrong, bro. But now, I mean, you said it, bro. Chet versus Wemby. That's
There
NBA
you
is trying
go.
to run with it. We're trying to run with it.
There
I
you
think
go.
we're all excited for it. With the matchup is always going to be there. Potential. Might have to come through us to get to where you need to go to. But think of future, right? Just drawing the scenarios for the audience. But yeah, no, super excited. I think this is awesome that they put the Spurs in. Obviously, what Wemby was able to do in the Garden last year kind of proved to everyone in the world, if you didn't already know, that he's probably gonna play every Christmas if he's healthy. And it's just kind of exciting matchup. Like I said, defending champions coming up against the up and rising Western Conference team. Kind of roles are reversed in a sense. If you kind of flash back, you know 15 years ago, that was kind of where we were at. We were the
12,
young,
15.
yeah, we were the young team trying to come up, and now it's like the Spurs are the young team trying to come up. So crazy how the tides have turned, but super excited to see what I think Shea, obviously we know what he's gonna do. I really want to see what I mean. I'm not gonna lie, I'm more excited to see what the Spurs players can kind of do. I
Yeah,
think
same,
I think the
same.
Thunder have kind of proven and just kind of showed us what we have been able to do for a whole season and win a chip. And I think the Spurs just kind of more of a potential thing for me right now. And seeing what De'Aaron Fox can be with Wemby, and hopefully they're healthy by that point of the season. And hopefully Stephon Castle kind of has just kind of
There
piggybacks
you
off
go.
of the season that he just had this past year. And I think it's going to be an exciting matchup, bro. They have a lot of guards, but I think all of our defenders are very versatile, so they can keep up with pretty much everyone. We might play less a double big lineup at points in
I can see
time.
that.
Obviously,
Yeah, because
Wemby is
Wemby
because Wemby's probably gonna. I
too
like
much. He's
honestly,
too
bro.
much.
I think we might have talked about this, but I like the way that they kind of built it because like I really think they could probably have Wemby at the 5 and just have nothing but like guards around him, like bigger guards, of course, or maybe like forwards that kind of have guard like skills,
Skills.
and just kind of put him around Wemby and just kind of like defend, like the Carter Bryants of the world. Maybe he's playing 4 or something. So just kind of make it to where it's like a small ball.
Interesting.
Everyone can like facilitate, play, make,
Six
whatever,
out,
create
five
their own
out. Yeah,
shot. Yeah, 5 out essentially, but. Yeah, no, I think we're gonna win this one, man. I think
I think
Wemby.
that
I think Wemby's gonna have a Wemby game. Not gonna lie, I think he might repeat of like last year. Maybe drop like a 40
for
piece or
sure.
something.
Yeah,
Five
dude.
blocks, 6 blocks,
30
whatever.
points.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I think we're gonna steal this. I think I'm gonna say 124 to 118.
And 18. Yeah, high scoring, and it makes sense, dude. Those two teams should be offensive engines at that point in the season. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, like De'Aaron Fox too going if he's
Mm-hmm.
healthy. Yeah, that's going to be very, very fun. Super exciting. But hey, this next one, again, going back to LA, brother. We playing the Rockets now. We playing y'all's team from opening night. Uh, Luka Doncic and LeBron on Christmas. I mean, it's one of my favorite presents to get. I feel like we always get these two guys on Christmas Day. I'm just excited to see and watch AR. I feel like he's going to be the most important piece in this game. We know what Durant's going to do. We know what Şengün's going to do. We know what Luka's going to do. We know what Brown's going to do. It's just if for us to win this game, I think Austin Reeves has to show out. I think he will though.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was saying earlier, there's some Christmas mojo in the air. Whenever guys are playing on Christmas Day, you get these different shoes on, you get the Christmas socks on, you start feeling the type of way. You go out there, you had 20, 25, 30 points. So for me, man, like what I had in my notes, I think at this point we'll see if Kevin Durant is really him. He is going to be, but we'll just have that figured out. I think Udoka will have the scheme surrounding Kevin Durant to really make the most impact on offense, brother. Again, this is one of my hot takes too, but I think the Rockets could be a potential top 10 offensive team and top 10 defensive team. So it's going to be a slippery slope. Like the Lakers can't overlook this matchup, and I'm almost leaning towards the Rockets here, just based off of previous history and their defensive ability and what they've shown me. I think it's going to be a very close game, but I think defense is ultimately going to prevail. I think it'll be like 110 Houston to 102 Lakers. I think it's going to be a low scoring one. This one should be more of like a defensive battle. I think, yeah, dude, they're going to be able to play through Şengün and obviously Fred VanVleet. He's the one who initiates, but like having Kevin Durant there just takes so
Opens
much pressure
yeah
off of
opens
ball
everything up
handlers.
for the
And so
offense.
I know, and he does a lot of work in the mid range, and we actually we give up a ton of like offensive. I don't know, man. Like when I was doing some research into this. Unfortunately, the Lakers are one of the worst rim protecting teams, and also like we give up a lot of mid range shots. I think teams shot a very high percentage. Forget the number. I was trying to think about it, but I don't want to say a number that's not true. But we give up a lot in the mid range, and that's just where KD does his damage, and Şengün does the hook shots, and Şengün has killed us over the course of his career. But like I said, I want to go with the Lakers, but I don't know. I
Hmm.
don't know. It depends on how AR plays, bro.
Yeah,
We'll see.
yeah. It depends on a lot. Obviously, we're thinking 4 months in
Yeah, we're
advance,
going all
but
the way out. Yeah,
like you said, I think if this is kind of how I'm playing it out in my head. If AR goes off, drops 25 plus, hits a 30 bomb, whatever it is, I think y'all won the game. If KD is kind of, I think at this point, like you said, we know what KD's going to be. He's going to be great. But just thinking ahead, if KD is doing what we expect him to do for this Houston Rockets team, I think that's when it becomes a little hard for y'all because, like you said, I don't think mid range is kind of where y'all were
we're
pretty
struggling.
struggling in this past season. And I think, with the addition of DeAndre Ayton, yes, that y'all needed a center. He was a great pickup for what y'all needed. But defensively, it's kind of been his question mark on pretty much his whole career. So it's kind of, I think if KD has a great game and up to this point of the season, if he's just kind of been torching teams, it might be a little harder for y'all to be able to do that. But I think if AR is scoring 25 plus, I think if DeAndre Ayton contributes a little bit of something, I think we talk
Oh,
about it like,
what?
what
14-10.
14-10, yeah, like I think that's when it kind of gets a little more. I think it's gonna be a close game regardless. Kind of going into
Oh,
my prediction because I feel like I'm kind of just rambling on about this, but I think it's going to be a close game. I think the Rockets are going to win though. I think their defense
I
is going
agree.
to be the kind of shifting moments of the games, or when it gets closer, they're going to kind of have to rely on that, and then now they have Kevin Durant, so they could just kind of pass him the ball and have him do what he does. So I think that's kind of how I'm playing it out in my head. I want to say it's a pretty low scoring game as well. I'm leaning towards the probably like I'm thinking like 118 to like
Yeah.
115, like around that. I think it's gonna be a pretty high scoring game.
Yeah. Okay. That's what's up, bro. I appreciate our honesty there because I wanted to take the Lakers, but I don't know.
I know
I
what you
mean, the
mean.
Rockets have a lot of firepower. Like I said, my hot take is top 10 defense, top 10 offense, and that's a recipe for success. And so going right along into our next afternoon game, man, we got the Mavericks and the Golden State Warriors. And this one I have in my notes, bro. It's just the young versus old. I think we're starting to see a new wave. Obviously, with Cooper Flag being in the mix, but
That's cool.
yeah, it's cool. AD versus Curry. We still got some older guys going at it. I think
Is this the
I'm most
Christmas
excited.
game where you're kind of like, I'll put it on, but I'm not watching it,
Uh,
or are you gonna be
yeah,
watching it?
these next two, mm, like I think this one is the one where I was like,
Yeah, I'll take the
just because
trash out or
Malik
something.
and Kyrie's not
Yeah,
gonna
he's
be
not
there, I
gonna
don't
be
think.
there.
And
Yeah,
so there's the Mavericks don't have the best surrounding roster outside of Flag and AD, but I think watching the Dubs will be fun and seeing Curry perform on Christmas is always a good thing to see. I think the Warriors handle business here. I think Steve Kerr's gonna have them ready to go. Just running a lot of continuity through their offense. But yeah, this was the main game. I was like,
yeah,
but I don't want to hate on if you're a Mavericks fan and Golden State Warriors fan. There's nothing wrong with that. I know you guys will be very happy to see your team play on Christmas Day and waking up getting the gifts. But I know it's a gift to watch Cooper Flag, so I had it in my notes. Just excited to see what he could bring to the table. We know what AD, all the older vets, Najee, Max Christie, ex Laker. I'll be watching him, but we know what Curry, Draymond, Jimmy Butler are gonna do. Just you brought up a really good point with Kuminga. If he's on the roster, I feel like they win this game pretty easily. But if he's not, I think this game becomes more competitive, and it really just depends on if Golden State can pull out a win. But going into my prediction, I got to give it, I think it's going to be a higher scoring one. I'm going to go 119, 113 Warriors.
mm. Gotcha. Yeah, that was a good one.
I'm going to say
Yeah,
111. I'm going to say 111, 119 Warriors.
okay. Yeah, that's probably around what I was gonna say too. But
Yeah, like a little lower.
like I was saying, this is kind of like let me take out the trash real quick, or let me go like clean some stuff up around the house. Like have it on, of course, but not be as locked in with like pretty much all these other games. But like you said, no disrespect to either team. I'm ready to see what Cooper Flag is at this point of the year. It's dope that rookie's gonna be playing on Christmas Day. I feel like no, Wemby wasn't a rookie last year, but yeah, no, I feel like that doesn't really happen that
Doesn't happen
often.
much.
Yeah,
No,
so
yeah.
shout out to that. Obviously, we probably thought Kyrie was gonna be playing, but we know what happened. But yeah, Cooper Flag, AD show, ready to see what that looks like, and then like you said, just kind of going back to the opening night, y'all versus the Lakers or the Warriors. It's
Yep.
you just being able to watch like these legendary players. It's always gonna. I feel like that's why the Warriors are playing. It's because of Curry.
Oh,
So
yeah.
it's
That's, yeah.
dope
The
that
NBA,
the NBA like is able to like realize that, and they like, okay, yeah, this is one of the
they
greatest players
cater
we've
to
ever
it.
seen.
Yeah.
Yeah, to the audience and stuff. So ready to see what that looks like. And like you said, I think the Warriors are going to be able to handle business. I think Curry's going to have a great game. I wouldn't be surprised if Jimmy has a great game as well. A little Chef and Butler
Yeah,
action,
bro.
you know what I mean? And I think it's going to be
Dual
around
30.
what you said. Probably, I'll switch it up a little bit, like 121, 113.
There you go. Yeah, it'll be competitive, but I think the Warriors could win by 10 plus. So we'll have to see. The next one's the nightcap, though. I think this one's late. So, kid going to bed. think it's like they get it in early though on Christmas Day. I think it's like 7:30 or
Yeah,
8.
it's not too
I feel
late.
like it's not too
It's
late.
not
It's not
ending at
9 p.m.
midnight.
Right. But Minnesota Timberwolves versus the Denver Nuggets, man. We got Anthony Edwards versus Nikola Jokic. I think Ant deserves to play on Christmas. I think this is Ant's first Christmas Day game, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think so.
I don't think he's ever played on Christmas, and so this is going to be big for him. I know the Timberwolves we're about to discuss with the offseason file, so we'll break them down a little bit here in a second. But they're in an interesting spot, bro, because he's the focal point of their team, and they're really trying to find players that they can surround him with to be successful. And whether that's Nas Reed, Jay McDaniels, Julius Randle, they have a lot of different pieces they can look to combat the Nuggets. You know, the Nuggets having to deal with losing not Cam, Michael Porter Jr., getting Cam Johnson, trying to figure out how to implement him, and moving forward as as an agent with an agent Nikola Jokic, who honestly looks set to retire after his contract's up. He looks very, he says things like, "Oh, I think I'm gonna just head out." Like he's not gonna be here for the long time. He's here for a good time. So
Dang, yeah, that's
um,
crazy.
it's crazy. But I think the Nuggets are still the better team because of his presence. I just don't know if Rudy Gobert can handle that. I think Jokic could go for 40 and 20, and so I'm leaning the Nuggets here. I think this game will be high scoring. I'm going 129 to 116 Nuggets. I think the Nuggets are going to have an offensive explosion here, hit a couple of threes. I think Christian Brown's going to be good. I don't know if he's played on Christmas Day, or I think he might have before because he's played with the Nuggets, so
Right,
I
right.
think he'll be used to it. But yeah, I don't know. We're gonna talk about the Timberwolves in a second. They have like they're a very good team, but they have a chance to like fall off a lot this year if they're not careful. I know they made back-to-back Western Conference Finals, but their team is just a lot different now, and they gotta figure it out. But we'll talk about
We'll
that in a
talk about
sec.
yeah, we're about to talk about that. Yeah, but yeah, kind of just piggybacking off what you said. I think Jokic is gonna have a great game. Christmas Day, Jokic. He's gonna be
Right.
handing out presents all night. I think
There you go. The Joker.
the Joker. Yeah, I don't know if yeah, I'm pretty sure Rudy's gonna be guarding him. That's we know what that is, and just kind of what he's done to Gobert probably pretty much his whole career. But yeah, just ready to see what Ant can do. I'm excited to see where they're kind of at. I feel like that's we're gonna talk about it, but just kind of Timberwolves in general are in a weird spot for the most part because they've been really successful back to back conference finals, like you just said. But expectation this year is like, all right, well, you did it these past 2 seasons. What's going on? Why can't you make it to the finals? I guess, and I feel like you'll see probably why this year. But I think Julius Randle, Jaden McDaniels, one of those guys are gonna have a good game to keep it more competitive. But I think Jokic is just gonna be too much for them, and he's gonna, like you said, like a 40-20 type game. I wouldn't be surprised at that. That would be wild to see. But yeah, I think the Nuggets win. Prediction for it. I think it's gonna be a high scoring game as well. Probably 125. Yeah, I think it might be a blowout, bro. I think it's gonna be a blowout of the night. 125 to like 110 or something like that. Like
Yeah,
around
no,
that.
I could
It's
see
kind of
that.
what I'm.
I see where you're going with that. I could see that as well with Minnesota letting go of the rope. Just
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I
Like
could
they're
see
already
it for
beating
some
them by
reason.
like 20 or
They
30 or
don't have
something.
a yeah they don't have a good bench or like the best bench, and yeah, the Nuggets just are really dangerous. And so, but I'm excited, bro. All those games gonna be fun. We just went through like 6, 7 of them. So
Mm-hmm.
got the Christmas Day ones. We got that entire slate, and then the opening night. Clearly, one of the best days in all of the year for us, man. Just seeing hoops starting off and then getting that going. So we're very excited to dive into that with you guys. But rolling right along to our next segment, man, we got the offseason files. Today we're talking about the Minnesota Timberwolves, the way that we like to do it on this show. We started off with the 3 franchise players that they're building around. We dive into their cap situation. And then we get into some strategic on the court and off the court improvements that we know these teams can make to improve their team. Pretty simple. Kind of a little segment that CJ and I like to do, but I'll get right into it, man. Like I mentioned a couple minutes ago, we're talking about the Timberwolves. and just what their team, the entirety of their team, and what their situation looks like. And so I started off with the most important player. This is the number one guy that they're building around, but it's none other than Anthony Edwards. I think he's on a 5-year, $245 million deal, $15 million bonus, so it's up to 260 through 2029 and 2030. Point is, this dude's been the entire team pretty much since he's got there. Very clearly has stepped into the franchise player role with open arms and continues to improve every single season. Last year, it was his 3-point shooting. This year, it's most likely going to be his playmaking. You know, as Mike Conley ages, he's going to be asked to do a lot more in the playmaking department, and I think he's going to answer the challenge. You could see 6, 7 assists at it potentially next year, and so it just kind of goes to show you that he's a willing and growing player. The Timberwolves have done a really good job of putting pieces around him that it really it caters to his strengths. I think earlier in his career he really struggled from the 3-point line, but now that he's added that shot, it's really allowed for their offense to open up. The other thing that I wanted to mention too, bro, is his leadership, just his usage, his ability to. He doesn't get hurt either. He's always available. His ability to be there on a night in, night out basis. It's just Minnesota's identity runs through him and alongside him. And so I think Anthony Edwards being the face of your team is any team would love to have that. I know we'll get into their cap situation a little bit later. We'll explain the implications of that. But he's clearly the number one player that they have on that roster. And essentially, he's their only hope to winning a championship, you know? It's the other thing I was going to say. I think Minnesota has put a lot of pressure on this young kid to perform. I think he stepped up to the challenge. But like CJ brought up, 2 Western Conference Finals appearances, nothing to really show for it. I think both series were either 5 game. Yeah, 5 games. So like 1 win, 2 wins total in those series. I mean, time is ticking. And so I think it's really important for Ant to recognize the moment and understand what he has to do to improve his offensive game. And I think at times he's not bought in on defense either, but he's become a better defender as well. He's just got a couple things he needs to work on. But at that number, I think it's a discount, to be honest with you. I think Anthony Edwards at 245 over the course of 5 years is very, very, very relatively cheap for the type of value you're going to be getting from him. So clearly the number one player that they're building around. It's pretty simple. This next guy, ex-Laker, was acquired in the trade with Karl Anthony Towns, but ex-Knick as well. It's none other than Julius Randle. They just restructured his contract on that 3-year, $100 million deal. I think he also has a player option, if I'm not mistaken, in 2026 and 2027, if I'm looking at Spo right. And his ability to just create offense and be that secondary playmaker / scorer for the Timberwolves has been really useful. CJ and I have touched on his performance in the playoffs. I think this last season he had the best year of his career performing in the playoffs, and I think that is why he got that contract, the restructured deal. And he's proven that his style of play can be useful, especially on the Minnesota Timberwolves. I was going to say, personally, to me, Julius Randle has seemed to fit best here in Minnesota than anywhere else he's ever played, which is a really big caveat to this situation, because I think it goes to show you guys that the Timberwolves front office made a really good decision in moving off of Karl Anthony Towns. We've seen what Karl Anthony Towns can do for the Knicks, but I think the way that Anthony Edwards was playing, the way that Julius Randle, fits a little bit better.
That was a really good trade.
Yeah, it's one of the better trades that we've had in recent memory.
They both made it to the conference finals this past season.
Right, and both players had career years in a sense. It's not like a win-loss. It's like a win-win in both situations. So very interesting, like you're saying, to bring that up. But I think for me, it's like at times he kind of gets the offense clogged down. He's still not the best playmaker. He can't create for others the best. And I think that's like the one gripe that I have about Julius Randle. But he definitely eases the pressure off of Anthony Edwards a lot, and somebody who's shown that he has big time scoring ability and does it against teams who are very competitive. And so, yeah, I think the Timberwolves are excited to have him as the secondary option and be that second guy that they're building their team around because he's in his prime at this age and um, they've got 3 years to really work with Julius Randle and I would say 3-4 years is kind of the tail end of his prime so they have the runways clear for them the next 3 years so at that number I think it's again another discount which is interesting. The Timberwolves are expensive because they have a bunch of players over $100 million, not because they're overpaying for certain players. I
Right.
think they're paying a lot of guys over three digits, and
Yeah.
that's going to add up in our cap situation a little bit later. But second guy they're building around is none other than Julius Randle. And this third dude, man, this was the interesting one. You can go with Nas Reed here. You could go with Rudy Gobert if you want. CJ and I went with Jaden McDaniels, a 24-year-old. Honestly, a rising two-way player. He's gotten a lot better on the offensive end on a 5 year, I think it's a $130 million deal through 2029, 2030. He's their main defensive stopper. So we talk about defensive identity. I think Rudy Gobert, it stems from Rudy Gobert and then Jaden McDaniels. He's capable of guarding players 1 through 4, and he's really shown flashes of being a tertiary scorer. Again, I think he needs to improve his 3 point shooting, but his slashing ability has really allowed for him to develop into a player of service. Somebody who's going to be starting on a nightly basis, who's going to play 35 minutes. He fits really well alongside Anthony Edwards and Julius Randle with this play style. Doesn't need to dribble a lot to create his own shot. Those two guys dribble a ton. And so having that third guy be somebody who can come off of, into the game and not need the ball in his hands to necessarily impact the game offensively is really, really important. I think Jaden McDaniels has been a really good piece for the Timberwolves to have, and that's why he started on our list. I think you can go with Nas, you can go with Rudy Gobert, but I think he's been the dark horse to this whole concoction combination of players that they've put together on their roster. He's really been the main guy who's been holding it all together. Again, he's the one who defends the opposing team's best player as well. So having that person on your team who can handle that responsibility is really important. And yeah, Jaden McDaniels is a solid guy. So those are our three players, the three franchise players that the Timberwolves are building around. Jaden McDaniels, Julius Randle, and obviously Anthony Edwards. But CJ, would you like to take away the cast situation?
Yes, sir. For everyone that doesn't know, next segment is the cap and roster situation. So we dive deep into their books, kind of see where they can make improvements on, and just kind of just kind of thoughts and whenever we see kind of their balance sheet. So Minnesota Timberwolves, their active roster salary cap is $200 million. Total payroll is $240 million, so roughly $84 million over the cap, placing them in the luxury tax.
They're in the luxury.
In the luxury.
Yeah,
So apron status currently under the first apron, and also only $6 million away from the second apron. So they're
they're
flirting
in
with
the
it.
first apron,
Yeah,
right?
they're
They're under
they're,
the first
they're
apron,
under.
right?
Yeah, yeah. Still have partial mid-level exception access and flexibility for aggregation and trades. The T-Wolves must decide on their future as they could potentially risk second apron status due to their high-value roster. Uh, Depth chart notes. So Minnesota is top heavy financially. Obviously, with Anthony Edwards, Rudy Gobert, Jay McDaniels, they're
Yep,
all
yep.
above $100 million. I think Nas Reed as well, which means every role player's deal matters. The T Wolves are well built for the regular season, but face playoff half court scoring concerns if Edwards is slowed and Randall's efficiency dips. So it's a great way, kind of going into what I see from their balance sheet, and pretty much what we said. Ant, Gobert, Randall, McDaniels, and now Nas Reed are all getting paid a hefty price. So not a bad thing if you can build around them, right? Like that's why we said that one of their things that they should do is get value in their role players, and I feel like that is it's not as hard as it used to be in the league. I feel like there's a lot of talented players that you can kind of find diamond in a rough type of vibe, but it's finding them, right. And I think they already, as well, they have like
Keeping them.
Rob Dillingham on here. They have DiVincenzo still, so if they have a great
Terrence
season,
Shannon.
Terrence Shannon Jr. Yeah,
Yeah.
so they got some players, but Yeah, no, pretty much besides that, it's not crazy. Like ZD was saying, they're in the luxury tax just because of how much they've paid their valuable assets, which that's I'm not mad at that. If you're keeping
No,
your
yeah,
best
yeah.
players and they just so happen to be pretty expensive and they're all young, it's like, well, at least you
Not
have them
because of
for
right.
3-4 years. You're not overpaying someone that just
It's
got
not because
yeah,
you're overpaying.
you know what I
Right.
mean. So, but yeah, no. Besides that, it looks relatively well.
Yeah,
DiVincenzo has 2 more years, and then Conley, whenever that contract ends, I'm assuming they're probably just gonna let him walk, and then they have their rookies. Rob, Terrence Shannon
Gobert
Jr.
contract's bad. The
Gobert.
Gobert
I was
contract.
about to say that is the one. Yeah, I'm surprised I didn't say that right off rip. That is
Yeah, well,
really
yeah.
bad
I knew you were
contract.
gonna talk about it. Yeah,
But I
just kind of
mean,
sketchy
yeah,
at
just
that number for what he
for what
does.
he
I
does.
love Rudy Gobert. The question social media asked like the people this, but for you, CJ, you think he's a Hall of Famer? Probably not first ballot, but
Probably
like
not first ballot, but I think he is a Hall of Famer.
I agree. But like what Rudy Gobert is today, and again, he had that one playoff game against the Lakers, and we don't put a center out there. He goes for 2020. Like he's still that type of guy. If you don't
Right.
respect him, he'll still punish you. But at the 30, whatever, or almost 40, it's
Yeah.
a lot today
Yeah.
for
36, 35 this year,
like,
36 next year.
yeah, yeah. On an escalating too, like you pay more a little bit. It's like tough because he's not getting much better. So
Yeah.
it kind of goes to show like if you do pay your roster guys that you've built through the draft or traded for, then you're going to be paying, first apron, second apron status for that roster. And hopefully that turns over. My only concern is if, honestly, it is a concern. Firm one, I don't see them winning a championship. So if you're paying for this roster at this price, it has to make sense. And
Right.
I don't know if it does. I mean,
Yeah.
they were assuming it would, but the reason we had that is like they're gonna have to make a decision on if they want to go to second apron status, and um, we'll talk about that later on the off the court improvement section before we get to the one that we do on the court. So I'll highlight that as well. Did you have anything else you wanted to talk about their balance sheet? It's fairly healthy.
It's fairly
It's
healthy.
just
Yeah. It's just a
it's
little
expensive
expensive
because of
in
yeah, it's
players.
expensive because of what they
Maybe
did
the
in the
Nas
past.
Reed contract might be a little
We'll talk
overvalued.
about that.
That
We're gonna
might
talk about
be my only gripe against it, but I think McDaniels and Randall, I think those were great extensions. I think they're
right.
great pieces to kind of build, seeing what you're trying to build, and like you brought it up with Julius Randall. I think this is the best I've ever seen him play. So it's kind of
No
crazy how
doubt.
that works. You have like two kind of ball dominant guard slash forwards that are kind of coexisting very well together. So it's interesting, but yeah, no, that was really all I got for that.
Yeah, the Randall Edwards duo like is working just because Randall can shoot the three as well. Like it's not horrible, and so I think whenever he like gets going, it's really good because Anthony Edwards doesn't need to be expected to do so much. But
Right.
I'm going right into the strategic improvements, man. These ones are the ones that they can make on the court. These are the priorities that Three Man Weave thinks that the Minnesota Timberwolves should be making. I wanted to start this one off with defense. We've been talking a lot about offense, but so they have leaned into their defensive identity. It's great. The offensive hierarchy needs to be decided. Now, obviously, Anthony Edwards, Julius Randle are your main players, but I would even argue sometimes it's Nas Reed who's that third fiddle, then as opposed to Jaden McDaniels on offense. So they have to clarify Randall's role as the number two. Clearly, he's the number two, but I think where they run into trouble as an offense is they get slowed because they don't have other people who can create their own shots. And while I did say having Jaden McDaniels on your team is a plus, and not having people who can create their own shot, it's also a disadvantage because then you don't have people who can get into a pick and roll, get into a mid-range shot, and really do that. Even Dante DiVincenzo, who honestly didn't have the best year last year, I think they were expecting a little bit more from him. He's not going to initiate and come off pick and rolls and do mid. Like it's very those touches become overlapping, and I think that's where Minnesota runs into trouble, and that's partly why their offense was so mid last year. the reason why they were so good was because of their defensive identity. It was clear they were the best defense in pretty much the league besides the Thunder, obviously a historically great defense, but Minnesota was right there and they were in the mix because of the way that they were performing on defense. And I think if they clean up some of those things on offense, like building out that hierarchy, knowing who gets the third touches, and honestly, it could be Nas Reed. It could be Nas Reed just because he has shown that he can score efficiently better than anybody else on the Timberwolves, and I wouldn't be mad at that. But like, I still think that the Minnesota Timberwolves are building around Jaden McDaniels because of his two-way superstardom, you could say in a sense. I think what he can bring from an offense perspective and a defense perspective is a little bit more than what Nas Reed can do just on offense. But dang, man, they got to figure out that offensive hierarchy, bro. They got to figure it out quick. I think
Do you
they can be
expect
a
like a Rob Dillingham jump this year, or do you think he's gonna still not get as much
I don't think
opportunities?
Finch. I don't know what it is. I just don't know if he's going to play him. We're going to talk about that a little bit later as well with Rob Dillingham, Terrence Shannon Jr. We can go into that as well, like if you want, but they have younger guys who they can play who they just don't.
Don't.
And for
Yeah.
whatever reason, yeah, for whatever reason, it may be because of like they don't pay them a ton of money, whatever the case may be. But I think it does hurt players like Anthony Edwards and Julius Randle who are looking for that secondary help outside of what they're doing. And funny enough, Rob Dillingham can create his own shot.
Shot. Yep.
Terrence Shannon Jr. can create his own shot. And so it's interesting to see. I think that was my next point is because they don't know what they're doing on offense all the time, it puts them in limbo. And so they can work to shut the opposing team down, but sometimes it's not going to be that type of night. What are you going to do when the Thunder are scoring 130 points? What can
Shoot.
you really do? All you can really do is outshoot them,
Yeah.
compete on an offensive level. The Timberwolves defense is not their problem. It's
That is not the
definitely on
issue.
offense and leaning into the younger players and letting Rob Dillingham develop and letting I think they got rid of Luka Garza. Like there's a couple
Hmm.
players where Nikhil Alexander walked as well.
Yeah.
There's a couple things that have happened to the Timberwolves who, in my opinion, it's made them a little worse. However, if they can lean into their younger players, start developing those guys from the jump, right? You go and play Rob Dillingham 25 minutes. You go and play Terrence Shannon Jr. 20 minutes. Like they're gonna start getting better and they're gonna get those reps to where when it comes playoff time and you need to give Anthony Edwards a 3-4 minute rest, you can do that because
Hmm.
Rob Dillingham's played against the Thunder. He's played against 6-7 defenders. He knows what to do in those situations. So I really think leaning into that is going to be really important. Like that's the younger development, the leaning into their younger guys, but then establishing that offensive hierarchy kind of correlate between the 2 points. And then the last point that I wanted to make, bro, is just I don't know, their second unit to me is very weak.
Very.
I I think Nas and DiVincenzo's kind of a hybrid starter guy. You can kind of start him or put him off the bench, but I think after Nas Reed, it drops off, and that's kind of the point. Again, goes into leaning into the younger guys and their development. If you don't do that, like you'll have a weaker second unit, and so because you haven't played the bench guys that much in situations where it really counts, now you're going to pay the price for that. And I think the Timberwolves are really top heavy. That's the last thing the point I was going to make is they need to figure out a way to stagger their roster and figure out a rotation that can help them sustain their offensive production throughout a game. I think they've ran into trouble, bro, relying so much on Anthony Edwards and people who can create their own shots to be the main part of the offense. I think figuring out if, hey, man, okay, we're going to start DiVincenzo against this sort of team. They are not running two bigs. They run small ball. We can put them out there. And then we are going to run Gobert. We might even start Nas Reed every once in a while, right? Like you might have to play against the lineup that has two bigs. So they have to figure out how to get like obviously Anthony Edwards, Julius Randle, good, but how is everybody else going to play around those players? And then from there, continuing to not lose that defensive identity because defense is honestly what wins you championships. So that's a plus for the Timberwolves. Like they don't got to work on their defense. It's mainly just all offensive
Offense.
things
Yeah.
and rotational improvements that they can make from a strategical standpoint. I think if they do those three things, they'll be straight though. Like there'll be a top 10 offense, a top 10 defense,
Hmm.
similar to the Rockets and similar to the Thunder. again, these teams compete at a high level. They're very good. They have a very good defensive net rating, very good offensive net rating, and I think Chris Finch is going to figure it out. But those are like the three main points that I had that they could make immediately to strategically improve their team. And yeah, it's really good though. It's a really good problem to have when offense is what you should be
Yeah.
focused on and not defense, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
my goodness, I think that's really important to mention as well. Um, and now we can move on to the off the court, bro. And this is where it gets interesting a little bit. You know, you asked this question, like I said, we would talk about it at the end of the pod. So here we are. But these are some of the moves that we think, Three Man Weave thinks that Minnesota can make to strategically improve their team, right? And I'm gonna start it off. This is a a tough question for Timberwolves fans, but you know, should the Timberwolves shop Nas Reed? I think they should consider it. I think his value is at an all-time high. So that's number one, right? Like let's be real. How much further can Nas Reed really go, right? Like maybe an All-Star appearance, maybe
Maybe.
if
Yeah.
he has like a crazy
Maybe.
year,
Yeah.
right? Like with off the bench or something, 2010. But like
Maybe another
even
six
that,
man. Maybe.
yeah, another 6 man, right? But his deal is very movable, and trading him could bring back really important scoring or extra picks that they need because the Timberwolves are in a little bit of limbo with their draft capital, with their draft picks. We haven't spoken about it. I'm about to get into it in the second point, but if they could get back some picks, a decent player, shave some of that money off the second apron potentially, and get somebody for like if you're looking at Nas Reed and like a from a wide lens, not the microscope that you have. Because I would argue the Timberwolves look at Nas Reed under a microscope. So the value that he's providing the Timberwolves, but it's like, what is the value that he could provide a Hornets, right? Like maybe he could go out there, play 35 minutes, and actually get 30 points, but because he plays for the Timberwolves, that value is actually being diminished.
Right.
And so the fact that his value is this high right now at the limited touches that he has, being a 6 man of the year, I think it's a good chance to look into shopping him and moving off of that contract because it's really expensive. And to me, I'd argue Rudy Gobert and Nas Reed have the worst contracts on that roster. So if they can figure out a way, I don't know who they could shop with. It's my only thing. I was trying to do some research. It's gonna
What
have to be a team that has some cap space and some picks.
I was about to say, do you
Um,
think they would just try to get a guard, or what would they get?
I think they would mainly do it for picks.
Picks.
Yeah, like I don't even know if like they're getting a player back would be like their main concern, but
Right.
if it would be, I don't think it would be a guard either. I think it would be a big
A
because they
big.
don't have many bigs. Yeah, I think what's like Gobert and Nas Reed at this moment, and
Right.
then they kind of have the interchangeable forwards with Randall and McDaniel's.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think that could be a serious move to improve your future, especially if Nas Reed ends up being just Nas Reed. Like he doesn't improve, but he doesn't get worse. He's just Nas Reed. I think that value you'll have a big window to be able to capitalize on that,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I think to answer your question, I would shop him. I think Nas Reed is a great player. He's definitely a serviceable NBA player. It's just like we have to look at things from a wider scope than just the microscope that we're looking under. And I think the Timberwolves have been very dialed in on building around this roster, trying to make it work with Ant and win a championship with everybody here. But it's like at some point you kind of have to move on to a different direction, and that's okay. So I
Mm-hmm.
think shopping Nas Reed is one off the court decision they could make or a strategic improvement they can make that would boost their future. And then the second thing, and this is risky, but since the Timberwolves don't have a ton of picks, I like this a little bit. It's similar to the Grizzlies. I think they could look to move their 2028 first and one of the younger players. And so when I say younger players, this is DiVincenzo, Nas, Terrence Shannon, Dillingham. I think it's time to move on to get that third all-star potential player. And they just don't have that. I think that could take a lot of pressure off and Julius Randle to have a guy come in, get 20 as well. Now they're not going to have a bench whatsoever. But
Whatsoever.
but I will say that it does make them very, very scary and very dangerous. And I don't know. I don't know. The
What
thing I
type
was
of
going to say
player
about
do you think they would trade for?
mm,
Because like you said, they don't have a lot of bigs, but I feel like if you're trading,
it's going to have to be
if
somebody who it would be like a forward.
yeah,
Um, I don't know. I was thinking about that earlier because I couldn't come up with one. We could try to come up with one live, but again, since their cap situation's very unopen, they have to
Would it
when
be
they
like a
make a trade.
rookie or something?
Huh?
It would be like a rookie or something, like a younger
No, no,
player.
no.
That's it.
It would have to. They would just have to take back the same amount of money. So let's say they sent Nas Reed in that pick. The pick doesn't cost any money, but Nas Reed's contract is really big,
Yeah.
so they would have to take back that amount.
Oh, so
If they sent out
21 mil.
right, and then like same with any player that they were to trade. Um,
So
I
probably
had
like two.
borderline star in my notes. Like it doesn't have to be a superstar, but I think I said focus on players who can be a clear third scoring option in the postseason without being a liability on defense. Because
Mm,
that's really the thing. And I think if they got a two-way semi superstar, and again, this can be like people can think pretty broadly here, but the Spurs have log jams. There's Vassell, there's Keldon Johnson. There's a couple of
mm.
other things that can be interesting that might become available due to teams making decisions as well. So I think the Timberwolves will have a clear and actionable path once the future kind of shows itself. But as of right now, like those are the two main things I think they could do. It's like if you don't have any draft capital anyways, and if you're not going to trade for it back, then you might as well get rid of all of it,
Right. Yeah. I
kind of
mean,
like the Suns did. Because if you're not going to trade for it back by moving Nas Reed, then it would make sense to go out and get somebody else and potentially keep Nas Reed and just use that 2028 first as like
yeah,
little
like
dangling
leverage.
carrot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
I think that was great, bro.
Yeah,
Learned a
yeah.
lot about
You
the
want to add
Timberwolves.
anything, or do you think that was solid?
Nah, yeah, I think we're good. I think that was a banger. As always, we're starting to get pretty
Sure.
good at these off-season files. So hopefully y'all are enjoying them, and yeah, just can't wait to opening day and just kind of ready to see the season already, bro. Just it was dope being able to talk to you about this season, especially the fact that my team was able to win. So it was dope,
Oh, bro,
sitting down on the
super cool.
pod every or not every night, but 3 nights a week and just kind of seeing the progression of everything was super dope. So appreciate you as always, and no, yeah, that's it for me, man. Anything left or anything
Not
you want to
just
let the people know?
yeah. Lakers got opening night and Christmas Day. Y'all know how we rock. Just make sure you guys leave a like, comment, subscribe, man. I think we're coming up. We've been doing these off-season files. We've been pumping them out, bro. We just gotta get the clips rolling, get social media popping. I promise we'll do better on that. That's a promise. I gotta figure out how to clip some of the videos, but yeah, no, I appreciate you guys for listening, man. I mean, we always appreciate you guys' time. We know everybody's a fan of different teams, so we try to give you guys all 30 teams here on Three Man Weave, and we appreciate the love. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, subscribe. That's all I'm gonna say. Just subscribe, do all that good stuff.
Yes, sir.
Have a good day.
Peace. Three man, three
Peace,
man,
man.
three
Three
man.
man, three man.